Hello, Bradley here. Just have a couple records to show you today. Originally, I was going to show a couple rock records, but maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. So I've gotten these in the last couple weeks. Both of them are Tone Poets from Blue Note. So I'll get on with it. First album, Dexter Gordon, Clubhouse. This album was recorded in 1965, but it was not released until 1979. There's a picture of the co-founder of Blue Note, Alfred Lyon, along with Dexter Gordon. Dexter was a very tall man, 6.5 feet tall. So the players on this album, which is a fantastic sounding album. Dexter Gordon, of course, tenor sax. Freddie Hubbard, trumpet. Barry Harris on piano. Bobby Cranshaw on bass, and Billy Higgins on drums. Dexter Gordon. I probably have more of Dexter Gordon albums than any other jazz artist. I don't know why that is. I think part of the reason is his album Go was one of the first jazz CDs I bought quite a while back. And so to this day, I have a hard time passing a Dexter Gordon album without picking it up. I just love it. This has 6 songs, and 3 of them were written by Dexter Gordon. Now this is a fantastic album. I have no complaints. My only complaint, it's a small one, is that it has 2 ballads. 2 out of the 6 songs are ballads. I like ballads, but I prefer having only one. But Dexter Gordon was such a great saxophonist. Nobody could do ballads better than him. So, hey, sounds great. Now, this album, like I said, was recorded in 1965. And actually, at this time, Dexter was living in Denmark. He had moved over there a couple years earlier, and so actually he flew back to record this album at Rudy Van Gelder's in New Jersey. And during that time, he did that a few times. He would fly back, record an album for Blue Note. But also at this time, he was recording, I don't know how many albums, Blue Note albums, he actually recorded in France, I believe. I know there was a couple. And on those albums, the engineer was not Rudy Van Gelder. It was different people. So those albums, they have a slightly different sound than the standard Rudy Van Gelder engineered albums. So that's a little interesting. Like I said, I have a bunch of Dexter Gordon, and one of my favorites is in a series of live performances in Denmark that he made. And one song that I always loved in his live recording, it's called Devilette. It's the last song on the first side. And it's one of my favorite jazz songs. And I always assumed that Dexter Gordon wrote this. Well, he did not. It was written by a bass player named Ben Tucker. So, like I said, on this album, Bob Cranshaw played bass on 5 of the 6 songs. But on Devilette, Ben Tucker played bass because he wrote the song, and I guess Dexter thought that would be nice to have him on the recording. Fantastic song. I love it. Okay. Next tone poet. Several people have shown this, so nothing earth-shaking here. Lee Morgan, Cornbread. This is a very good album. Now this was recorded in 1965 and released probably a year and a half later in early 1967 on Blue Note. I suppose to describe this album, combination of hard bop and what you would call soul jazz, kind of like that middle 60s combination, maybe a little of jazz and pop, so it would cross over to a larger audience. I think Lou Donaldson, Sam Donaldson, yeah, Lou Donaldson, and like Cannonball Adderley, they were kind of recording the kind of like the same style of music, I guess you would say. So I'll tell you who plays on here. Fantastic, fantastic group of musicians. Lee Morgan on trumpet, of course. You have Jackie McLean on alto sax, Hank Mobley on tenor sax, Herbie Hancock on piano, Larry Ridley on bass, and once again, as on the Dexter album, Billy Higgins on drums. This is a very sweet sounding album. I'll show you the gatefold.
Rework of the Stella by Starlight with Russell Hall from Jamaica via Miami.
I love these photos in these tone poets. Really nice. And very briefly, Lee Morgan. I think I've said a couple times, and everybody shows Lee Morgan. Tells us little stories. He died at the age of 33. He was shot and killed by his common-law wife at the time, Helen Morgan. It was at a gig at break time in New York City in 1972. So he ended up dying. And I will say there's a wonderful documentary on Netflix. It's called I Called Him Morgan, that tells the Lee Morgan story. Fantastic. If you're into jazz, you got to watch it. If you are not into jazz, it's a great documentary and you would enjoy it. Just a good one. So I'll just mention a couple songs on here. The title song, Cornbread, it's kind of like in the same style as the title song from Sidewinder. That same danceable music. Like I could hear this being played at a party back in the mid-60s, and people could actually dance to some of these songs. Then on the other side, the first song I'll show, it's called Si Ora, written by Lee Morgan, which he wrote for these 5 songs. It is a Latin, I'm not sure if it would be bossa nova, but a Latin type of song. Beautiful. This is one of my all-time favorite jazz songs. His trumpet playing is amazing. Sounds beautiful. And on this album, like I said, you have 3 horn players: trumpet, alto, and tenor. Hank Mobley on tenor sax, wow. And Herbie on piano, and it just goes on and on. It keeps giving. It's a great album. I would highly recommend both of those albums. Now, I did, when Blue Note had their 75th anniversary reissues 5 years ago, they released 100 of their top classics of all time. And one of them was Cornbread. Now, as far as the 75th reissues, I think the sound quality on this one is one of the best. Excellent sounding pressing and everything. Of course, it doesn't match the Tone Poet, but very good. So I decided to get the Tone Poet. Why not? Now, if you're into the Tone Poets, you may be wondering, well, so far in the Tone Poet, and it will hold true till the end of this year, this Cornbread, that's the only title from the 75th series that has been issued as a Tone Poet. And you may wonder, will there be more from the 75th? Because those were the 100 top records. Yeah, there will be some, I think, but not all of them, because over the years, over the last, 15 years, Music Matters, they had already licensed probably 35 of these 100 albums and produced them as audiophile recordings. So I don't think you'll see any of those 35 titles anytime soon on Tone Poets. And I'm sure originally they had a clause in the contract saying, Blue Note, you will not compete against our audiophile recordings. You will not be able to release your version of audiophile, say Blue Train, because we have a license we bought from you, etc. So I would assume that it was probably for X amount of years. I don't know. When does that run out? And Blue Note, if they want to, they can reissue their own high-quality audiophile versions. I don't know. And if anybody knows, they will not tell. You know, they're not going to tell you. So, whatever. So anyhow, I guess that's all I have to say. Like I said, the next couple days, maybe I'll churn out a couple other videos. I'll be gone this coming weekend. I'll be going with my brother to visit my niece on the other side of Ohio. So it's going to be a warm week. So everybody out there, stay cool. Be cool. Catch you later. See ya.